Well, as the dust continues to settle from yesterday's comments by the manager as regards transfers, etc., from Rangers, there's bits and pieces of other news going around at this moment in time around the club as we build towards the massive game on Saturday. You know, it's pre-season friendly, but it's still a big game. Whenever English clubs play Scottish clubs, always a big game. Not the Battle of Britain it once was, of course. I mean, if it was Champions League qualifier or something like that, then you could describe it as the Battle of Britain. Although that's a bit of a reference to a story that's going to come up in a minute, actually, those of you who remember that original Battle of Britain. So, look, yeah, business continues as usual. I think, look, we're in a position where we're quite clear on what the situation is going forward now, according to the manager. I think, the best policy for me is for the board to actually come out and speak to the fans. I mean, that is what is needed now. I think, looking at it in a calm, rational way, John Bennett and the rest of the board need to come out and actually speak to the fans. I think the continued silence by the board is very, very silly indeed. Whoever is advising them on their public relations side of things and the communication side of the business is quite clearly not up to his job, because you know what, this is the point where you do actually need to, I think, as an organization, come out and speak to your fans, to the, I suppose, I hate using this word, but customers. I think when a business has an issue, when a business has any sort of issue, which is unfortunately what football clubs are these days, they need to come out and speak to their customers, which are their fans. And at this moment in time, Rangers communication and public relations is exceptionally poor. Whoever is, like I said, advising John Bennett really does need to take a long, hard look at themselves. And, the longer they allow these stories to continue to run, post Philippe Clement's comments, the worse it's going to sound and the worse it's going to get for the board. And also the more angry fans are going to get. So they really are making a rod for their own back. And I know they can argue that there's, when there's nothing to really report and et cetera, et cetera. But the problem is at this moment in time, there is so much uncertainty, obviously, over the stadium. Hampden is kind of confirmed. You've got obviously the continuing transfer issues, the squad issues, the rebuild issues, the stadium issues. There's so much, out there at this moment in time that John Bennett could actually really come out and, get behind a camera, speak on RTV, or someone from the board at least, whether it's Halstead, whether it's Park Jr. or whoever it is, come actually and speak to the fans, talk to the fans. I know we don't have a CEO at the moment. That's obviously not great. Why that hasn't been addressed, I think that's obviously, the fact that we haven't got a CEO isn't helping the business at all also. So that's something else we do need to address. Look, it's chaos. It is chaos, and it's chaos at the worst possible time. It's chaos at a time when we need stability. It's chaos at a time when the club is going through a major revolution in terms of the fact the stadium is being, redeveloped. The playing squad needs to be redeveloped. There are players that need to be got rid of, and there seems to be a lack of direction from the top. And that is, I think, something that the fans are most angry about, the lack of direction coming from those in charge of our club. And I think that's why those at the very top of the business, at the very top of the club, need to come and address the fans and talk to the fans. At the end of the day, a lot of people could say, well, they don't owe us anything, we're just fans. But the thing is, guys, I think we've got to remember is this is our club. It's not their club. They are merely custodians in the long history of this football club. Since its formation in 1872, obviously, Rangers have had many chairmen, many owners, and many board members, all of whom have just passed through the great halls of Ibrox, and all were just custodians for a short, limited amount of time in the great history of our club. And these people here are just custodians in a short, limited time in the great history of our club, which will go on forever. Well, look, there's bits and pieces of news. There's news about a game against Leeds United, which is upcoming apparently this week. An extra friendly game added by the club. We'll talk about that. Also, the Joan or whatever it's called, Jordan deal or Jordan deal apparently is not dead as such. Okay, so let's start with that. Now, look, I've read a lot of things today about Rangers linked with this midfielder, Rangers linked with that midfielder, Rangers linked with this player. I'm not going to talk about any possible links that involve us spending money because, as we know, we don't have any money. So until someone leaves, until a player goes out of the door, the squad is reduced, the money is freed up, and there's actual, real, genuine money in the club, there will be no more signings for money. I think that's what we've got to get our heads around. And I'm not going to particularly talk about we're linked to signing this player because at the end of the day, there's no money. We're not going to sign him. So at this moment in time, I think those stories are a waste of time and very spurious. Now, the deal for Joan Jordan is one that is a possibility because it is a loan deal. Loan deals are a possibility because, of course, you only have to pay wages. Yes, there is perhaps a signing on fee, which is, is doable, is a possibility. I'm not quite sure how loan deals work 100%. There is a slight loan fee, but it's not usually that massive and it can be found. You know, it's not going to be a huge outlay like a transfer of a player. So, you know, Joan Jordan. Now, look, initially over the weekend, it came out that Rangers had tried to get Joan Jordan, the 30-year-old defensive midfielder from Sevilla, on loan for this season. That move was turned down. It was turned down because Sevilla were not willing to pay the amount of wages for the player that Rangers wanted them to. Now, some loan deals, when you go to clubs, you know, in top divisions like La Liga, like the EPL, for example, you can get the parent club, if they have no intention of selling you that player, to pay a large percentage of that player's wages. If you are kind of taking that player for developmental reasons or to give that player first team minutes, you can kind of sell it from the aspect of, well, tell you what, if we do you this favor, you need to do us something in return. So you pay 50%, 60% of his wages, we'll make up the rest. And that's kind of how it works. Now, according to the reports that were around over the weekend, the amount or percentage of wages that Rangers wanted Sevilla to pay was unacceptable to the Spanish club. It was thought to be in excess of 50%. Now, we saw, didn't we, when Fabio Silva came to the club last year, that Wolverhampton Wanderers paid, I think it was something like 70 to 80% of his wages. You know, Rangers, although they still paid him a substantial amount per week because of his huge wages, Wolves picked up the vast majority of the tab for the weekly wages of Fabio Silva. Now, according to reports in Spain today, Rangers are still looking and are going back with another offer for Jordan to bring him into the club. Now, at this moment in time, it has also been reported from media outlets in Seville that Sevilla are not prepared to pay any more than 50% of the player's wages. That if Rangers want to take Jordan on loan, they have to agree to a 50-50 split on his wages, which are, I would guess, very high. Given the fact that this man is an experienced player, given the fact that this man is a player who has played in La Liga, this is going to be something that, that is definitely a situation. Now, according to Fabrizio Romano, Jordan is paid 69,000 euros a week. That is his salary, 69,000 euros a week. Now, I know what you're all thinking. 69,000 euros. What is that in pounds sterling? That's about 58,000 pounds a week. So 58 grand a week he is on with Sevilla. Now, if it was a 50-50 split between Rangers and Sevilla, that would involve Rangers paying him £29,000 a week, which is, certainly would put him in the higher wage earners within the club, given the fact that Cyril Dessers, Ben Davis earner reported 27,000, Rabbi Matondo reported 28,000, James Tavernier reported 30,000 a week. Connor Goldson, an eye-watering, reported £38,000 a week. This is £29,000 a week for a 30-year-old defensive midfield player. Now, Jordan didn't play a lot of times for Sevilla last year. He was definitely just a squad player. Looking over his past history, he's got a lot of experience, an awful lot of experience playing in La Liga, playing over 200 games in La Liga. He's also played, a large number of games in the Champions League, the Europa League, the Conference League. So has vast European experience as well. So certainly would be an asset from that aspect, would bring experience to this team. And Philippe Clement did comment, didn't he, just the other week, that he is looking to bring in experienced players, and Jordan would certainly be an experienced player. However, you can kind of, well, actually, we'll get to the pros and cons of this deal in a minute. What we know about him is, like I said, he's 30 years old. He is 1.85 meters tall, which is just over 6 foot. He is a right-footed central midfield player. He's under contract until 2027 to Sevilla. It is thought that any deal for Jordan would just be a season-long loan. It is not a loan with an option to buy. Certainly, Rangers could not afford to pay him anywhere near the wages he currently gets at Sevilla. He plays in central midfield. He can also play attacking midfield and defensive midfield. He's been largely used by his club teams as either a central midfielder or a defensive midfielder. Many people feel that Jordan would be a replacement for Ryan Jack or John Lundstrom, very much a player to play in that 6 role, someone to win the ball, turn the ball over, and get attacks started again. Although, having said that, I did think Connor Barron did a very good job of this against Ajax at the weekend. If we look at the experience that Jordan has, he's played over 198. He played 198 games, for Sevilla, with 7 goals, 14 assists. As we can see, not massively attacking, more on the defensive side. He made 85 appearances for Espanyol's B team. Now, as we're aware, or you may be aware, in Spain, the B teams like Real Madrid B, Barcelona B, Espanyol B do play in the league structure, but just obviously don't can't get promoted to the top division. Something that I think we should definitely be looking at in Scotland, allowing Rangers B, Celtic B, Hearts B, and so on to play in the league structure. Ibar, he played 75 games for them. He's also played for Real Valladolid, played 37 games for them, and has played 17 times for the other Barcelona club, Espanyol. Look, at the end of the day, he has got a vast La Liga CV. So all his football has come in La Liga, never having played outside of the country. So obviously there would be adaptation time. There would be time for him to transfer over to Scottish football because, as we all know, La Liga is exceptionally different to the SPL. The standards of football and also the type of football played. Coming from Spain, where it is a very possession-based tiki-taka, short, quick passing style or slow passing style in some aspects. You only got to look at the Spanish national team that won the Euros last night. Congratulations to Spain. To look at the style of football that the Spanish clubs play. Whereas obviously in Scotland, it's much more helter-skelter, physical, British-style game, isn't it? So there is a difference there in that. Philippe Clement clearly feels, though, that Jordan is the sort of player that he would like in the team as a ball winner, someone to get the ball back and allow Rangers to start attacks again. Now, obviously, there are pros and cons to this deal. The pros being that he's an experienced player with a vast experienced CV, having played a number of top Spanish clubs, also with experience in Europe. The negatives, obviously, are the fact that he's 30 years old. It would only be a one-season loan deal. It would not be a view to a permanent move, which realistically you wouldn't want anyway, because the fact that this lad is probably going to be worth 6, 7, 8 million pounds, and he's 30, big wages, something we probably can't afford. So there's pros and cons to every deal on this side of the thing. But it does appear that the way the financial situation is at the club at this moment in time, and the way the board obviously are running things badly, this would be seemingly the market that Rangers will have to go down at this time, bringing in loans, bringing in free transfers, bringing in free agents, because of the fact that there is a complete lack of funds at this moment in time. And look, I don't want to talk about that because I was end up getting angry again. But look, this seems to be something that will continue until we get an end answer on this. Now, according to reports in Spain, Sevilla are also getting offers from Greek clubs as well for the services of Jordan. So, I think it's very much going to come down to what is the best deal, what is the best terms for the club and the player when it comes to this player moving from Sevilla this summer. It does appear that Sevilla do want to send him out on loan at least, or even sell in some aspects. Depends, obviously, on the offer that comes in for Jordan. He looks an experienced player. He looks like the sort of player who could do a job for us. But like I said, there are pros and cons to this deal. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Philippe Clement has been talking about the preparations ongoing this week for the Manchester United game on Saturday. Now that game will be here on the channel, so please obviously come and join us for that. We will be talking about the game, building up to the game, and we'll also bring you a live stream of the live watch along of the game as well. So it'd be great to have you here. Great to have you here to talk over the game, for you to give your opinions, your thoughts on the Manchester United game. It's a game I'm really looking forward to, playing against a major European club. It'd be interesting as well to see the caliber of team that Ten Hag brings up to Scotland to play against play against Rangers. Will he include the likes, obviously, of some of these players they've signed recently? He will be missing certain players, who've been away at the Euros. But I still, believe that Manchester United will bring an experienced team of very good footballers. So Philippe Clement has been speaking. He spoke this was on Saturday. He said, tomorrow it will be a day off. I think everybody needs it because we have been working for 2 weeks without a free day, and everybody needs some energy. So it sounds like Sunday was a day off for the players. And Monday as well. He says on Tuesday it will be training for part of the group, and for part of the group there will be a game against the second team of Leeds United, and then we are going to build towards the game on Saturday against Manchester United. Now, looking at a number of different sources, Leeds apparently will not play their full team. It will play a combination of first teamers and young players. Rangers will, of course, I think, send probably a younger team down, nobody actually knows where this game is going to take place. It will be behind closed doors. It will not be televised. It will be like the Standard Liège game, behind closed doors, either at Auchenhowie or at Leeds United's training centre at Thorpe Arch. So it's another game. It's adding in another game. It's adding in some more experience for these players. I think that Rangers will probably use this game to play some of the young lads. I think, you may well see the fact that, that Clement's talking about splitting his squad in half and sending half of them down to play in this game, or play them at Ockenhowie. We don't really know yet where the game is. So I think you'd like to see the likes of Lowry, maybe, Rice, maybe, Lovelace, possibly, McKinnon, Robbie Fraser, Leighton Grant, Curtis, and so on, and Paul Nuncio. Those sort of players, I think, playing in this game. I very much highly doubt you will see any of the top first-team players been travelling or playing in this game against Leeds United. But it's another, addition to the pre-season schedule, which is obviously clearly a very tough one. Lots of training, lots of gameplay to get the team ready for the new season. This will obviously say that we've played Hamilton, we've played Standard, we've played Ajax, Leeds, Manchester United, Birmingham, and Union Berlin in this pre-season program. Yes, 3 of those games have been behind closed doors, but they're still part of the preparation for this season, and will give some of the younger players some valuable first-team experience. But an interesting development nonetheless. Another back to the Battle of Britain. Those of you who remember that game at the Battle of Britain, certainly divided my household, with those goals at Ellen Road, where Leeds obviously went down to Ellen Road, and Rangers went down to Ellen Road and won that game against Leeds United, which obviously I think shocked a lot of English fans. Mark Hateley with one of those top goals as well. Well, guys, let me know what you think of that pre-season game. Let me know what you think of these couple of stories we've covered in this afternoon update. Thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. As always, on the way out, 2 favours I ask of you. Number 1, smash that like. And number 2, remember always, we are the people.